Hello and welcome to another episode of the Worth Crowd podcast. I am one of your hosts, Douglas Hardin, and as always, Jacob Klucas. First, how's it going?
Pretty good.
All right.
Kickball season is upon us tomorrow.
It is. We're in a new league, new teams. It's going to be the same result.
Damn straight.
Yeah, should be a good time. All right, so this episode, we're going to go a little bit. Klucas is going to do a recap of the first round of the NBA playoffs. He's going to talk a little bit about what the Lakers need to do to be competitive next year, even though they already have LeBron, Luka. I mean, Austin Reeves was playing at a pretty good level
until the playoffs.
Yeah, it seemed until the playoffs. Anyway, so he's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about, is Giannis on the move? Question mark? 2 question marks? Maybe 3 question marks? Yeah. And then he's going to talk, kind of added into that, he's going to talk about what moves he'd like to see in the offseason, just his personal preference. And then a more recent news, Sharon Moore, the head coach of the Michigan football team, he's expected to get a 2-season game ban for the Connor Stallion scandal. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's go ahead and hop into the NBA here.
So first round, as of last night, officially, first round of the NBA playoffs is over with. We ended it last night with Rockets-Warriors Game 7 with Steph Curry and the Warriors walking out as the winners.
Going into Houston, winning that game.
Yeah, kind of how I expected that series to go. I think I picked the Warriors in 6, but I expected at some point the Warriors were the more veteran team. The Rockets still very young, still getting their feet wet as a team. So I kind of expected this series to go how it went. Now, I did think those last couple games for a second, I did think, okay, now we're going back to Game 7 for Houston. Houston has a little momentum. Maybe Houston can beat them in Game 7. But end of the day, Rockets were just way too young for the moment.
Yeah, Buddy Hield hit 9 threes.
And Green, your quote-unquote star player, your superstar, your leading scorer can't play a 7-game series and score single digits in 6 out of those 7 games. And I said single digits.
Yeah, I think it'll work
6 out of the 7 games. So, yeah, that was the Warriors-Rockets, 7 games, Warriors won. Staying in the West, obviously we know the Lakers, instead of winning in 5, Lakers in 5, Shannon Sharp. The Lakers lost in 5 to Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. So, again, we'll dive into more of that with what the Lakers need to do, because while I think we were all, including myself, obviously, prisoners of the moment saying, well, they've got LeBron and Luka, they should be able to win. Again, this roster, as far as the roster, I think for what they had for LeBron and AD, I think the roster was an okay built roster around them. Then obviously the trade for Luka happens, and that's a completely different need for what the roster needs to look like. And the roster's just not that for what they need. So Lakers lost to the Timberwolves in 5. Shout out to Anthony Edwards. Obviously he's probably behind Luka and LeBron, my favorite player to watch. So if there was going to be a team to knock off LeBron and Luka in the playoffs, if it wasn't going to be the Cavs in the finals, then I'm okay with it being Anthony Edwards.
That dude is straight comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Pure entertainment. I love it.
Somebody made the quote of he's like it was on X. And they were like he's like Jordan's son with like Iverson's personality.
Yeah. I saw something where he said he beat child support, beat LeBron and Luka all in the same year.
All in 1 year. It's crazy. So the next series, the Thunder Grizzlies series, I never expected to be competitive. It was competitive for like a game when the Grizzlies had a 30-point lead on the Thunder and still lost. So I never expected that series to be anything competitive. Clippers Nuggets, I not gonna lie, Nuggets played a lot better than what I thought they would. I fully expected the Clippers to win that series, and they had a shot, obviously. But again, we once again got playoff James Hardin at his finest. Kawhi did everything he possibly could, but I mean, and the thing is, this series, it really wasn't even about Jokic. This series, everybody else stepped up. I mean, obviously Jamal Murray, we know what Jamal Murray can do in the playoffs. Aaron Gordon had a good playoff series. Russell Westbrook had a good playoff series. So shout out to the Nuggets. Now they get to go play the Oklahoma City Thunder. The only issue I have with that is I feel like the Clippers were a better matchup for the Thunder than the Nuggets are. So we'll see how this series goes, but I kind of think the Thunder are just going to be able to run the Nuggets out of the gym. And the other issue I do have with the Nuggets, and I noticed this in Game 1, and I'm going to put it out there. Why did they fire Michael Malone? again, we're going to go back to this because the reasoning they put out there that they fired Michael Malone was that they were playing Russell Westbrook too much down the stretch. Every game this series, he was playing down the stretch. So we just did the same thing Michael Malone did, but we fired him. For what?
Yeah, that's odd.
Like, first game, I was like, I remember I put a bet in, and I just needed like one Michael Porter Jr. 3. From the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter, Doug, until they went to overtime, Michael Porter Jr. never checked in the game because Russell Westbrook was in the game. I'm like, so we did the same things Michael Malone did, but we fired him. So there's obviously got to be more behind than just Westbrook playing for him getting fired. And then, so yeah, that rounds out the West. The East, the Cavs-Miami series, again, I kind of expected that to go. Now, I didn't expect the Cavs to beat them in a game by 55 points, but they did. But I expected that to be a sweep. Pacers-Bucks kind of went how I expected it. With no Damian Lillard, Giannis has absolutely no help in Milwaukee. So I expected that Pacers series to go how that went. Celtics, I was shocked that the Magic was able to actually keep this competitive for most of the series. But I've also said the Magic are about one elite guard away from being a scary team in the East. If the Magic could pull off getting an elite guard that could score the ball on the outside and help out Paolo, they could be a force to be reckoned with in the East. And then, what's the other series I'm missing here? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, Pistons-Knicks. Sorry. Another great series. But again, Pistons just young, just getting their feet wet. Knicks, been there, done that, all-around good team. So now the Knicks get to go play the Celtics, which I don't think is a good matchup for New York, but we'll see how it goes. I do, and the Cavs-Pacers, they started last night. Obviously, Cavs didn't get off to a good start in Game 1, but I do expect the Cavs to bounce back. Now, the problem is there's a couple injuries popping up for Cleveland. Darius Garland's been out since Game 3 of Miami. Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter are potentially out for Game 2. So, I mean, the injury bug's catching up to Cleveland right now.
Yeah, that doesn't seem, that's not going to be a good thing for him.
So, hopefully they can get past it. But I do expect, assuming that the injury bug doesn't hit too much, I do expect the Cavs to eventually get out of this series, Celtics to get out of their series.
Pacers are playing well, though.
They are. And then I expect the Thunder, and I'm probably going to have to go with the Timberwolves just because, I mean, listen, I hate Rudy Gobert. Despise the guy. But, I mean, if he's going to play the way he did against the Lakers, against the Warriors, and Julius Randle, it's going to be hard to not pick them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do think the Warriors Timberwolves series is actually going to be pretty entertaining. I mean, if there's any series I'm going to want to watch, it's going to be that one.
And they have multiple bodies they can throw at Steph and Jimmy Butler with Ant and Jaden McDaniels and Mike Conley and DiVincenzo. Yeah. And they have a lot of bodies.
Matchup's not really doesn't go well for Golden State. Steph and Jimmy are going to have to pretty much do everything.
So, which, I mean, we've seen done before. Both of them individually on their own on different teams. We've seen it happen before. So it is possible, but I don't know.
They don't have a bench though.
They don't.
I mean, that's going to hurt them eventually.
So we'll see. It's been a fun playoff so far. It's been an entertaining playoffs. Well, hopefully it gets even better. But now that gets us into what do the Lakers need to do to be better next year? One, Luka's going to have to get in shape. He has no choice.
Yeah, you can clearly see that he's not in what he should be shape.
Yeah, and JJ, I mean, he didn't call out Luka specifically, but he said our team was not in championship shape. And he goes, and we have to be in championship shape. And I don't think Luka, if I'm LeBron and JJ Redick, I'm not even giving Luka an option. I'm stealing his passport and not even letting him go back home this offseason. Buddy, you need to stay here, you need to work out, and you need to LeBron's technically a free agent, but he's going to do what he normally does. He's going to wait and see what the Lakers do, for one. And then two, he's going to sign his 1 year plus his player option next year where he can opt out or opt in. But he's going to want to see what the Lakers are going to do first. Now, he's already said he's not going to take a pay cut because he did that last year. And obviously it didn't work. So now he's going to take his full money that he can. But so what do they need to do? Well, he said for one, Luka's got to get in shape. But two, they got to find a big man. They have to. I mean, you let Rudy Gobert eat you alive in a playoff series. That's enough for me to say, yeah, I need a big man. So you got to do that. You know, you've got couple free agent options you can go after. Specifically, number one on my board is, if you can, and you can steal him away from Indiana, is Miles Turner. That's the perfect center for that team that can stretch the floor, shoot, run the floor, play defense. He gives you everything that Anthony Davis was doing, just not at the level of Anthony Davis. So if you can get him, great. Option number two is you can retry and revisit the Mark Williams trade and see what you can do with that.
Yeah.
And then, your other options in free agency, you have guys like Clint Capella, that's a free agent. Brooke Lopez is a free agent. You can look at those guys potentially as options. But the third thing I think they really need to do, and I wouldn't trade Austin Reeves. I think, one, because of how, LeBron is obviously probably only got, I would say at max 3 years at max left.
Yeah, pushing it.
You're going to need him for the future of your team. So I wouldn't trade Austin Reeves. Now, obviously, if a trade package like for Giannis comes up where, you can trade for Giannis, but you have to include Austin Reeves, screw it, do it. But I would keep him. But if you're going to keep him, I need Austin Reeves to accept a 6-man role, because having Luka, LeBron, and Reeves on the court at one time all the time hurts, because all three of them are at their best when the ball's in their hand. And if I can get Austin Reeves to come in for Luka or LeBron, and now I just have 2 out of 3 of them throughout most of the game. Fourth quarter, you could play all of them together, and it's fine. But I can't have all 3 of them on the court all the time, and I think it hurts a little bit. So get Austin Reeves to accept a 6-man role, and also that gives you a little bit of juice off the bench. And then the other thing is, if you're gonna keep him, for the love of God, play Dalton Connect. What was the point? Here's my thing with the Lakers, because they did it with Jalen Hood-Schifino too 2 years ago, and they did it with Dalton Connect. If you know for a fact, essentially, unless some catastrophic injury happens, you're not going to play these guys you draft in the first round because they're too young or whatever the case may be, just trade the first round pick and get something for it. Like, if you're not going to play them, just trade them and get something for it. So I don't know, but They got to do that. They got to get a big man. Luka's got to get in shape. They need a big man. I need Austin Reeves to accept a 6-man role. And then they're going to have to do what the Dallas Mavericks did last year, in terms of they're going to have to get a bunch of big body defensive perimeter guys to help out with Luka on the perimeter. Because LeBron showed, at least during the playoffs, where he goes, well, you could tell in that, I think it was a game 4, right when they lost down to the wire, that LeBron, you could kind of tell he didn't do anything in the fourth quarter, because probably in LeBron's mind, he was like, well, I have Luka. We're not doing anything defensively, so I'm going to use my energy on the defensive side.
Yeah, and so I was actually going to bring that up after you were done. But I think that goes to show that LeBron is, he's now, I think Father Time is catching up with him, because in that situation, LeBron needed to do both. He should have seen, he needed to be the clutch player in that moment to get the bucket. And he was trying to let the teammates do it and focus more on the defensive end, because I think he played phenomenal defense that whole series.
Yeah.
Which LeBron, I would never take that away from LeBron. He's a great defender. That
series is probably the great string of defensive games we've seen from LeBron in a while.
Yeah, but because he didn't have to have that offensive piece. Yeah. So I think we're seeing okay, yeah, LeBron's slowing down. And like you said, he's thinking, I have one of the best scorers in our generation. Let's be honest. Luka was that. I mean, he still is. He still can be if he gets his ass in shape. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing the LeBron body management.
Yeah, he's pretty much picking his spots now. Yeah. Which, I mean, he has been for a while now.
So is there a universe where, let's say, LeBron is a free agent. Let's just say he doesn't like the moves they're making. Luka comes back.
I think he's going to give, I think at minimum, we're going to get another year of LeBron in LA. Because I think he's going to give a full year of working with Luka to see what happens. Now, I
give
could
him a
see
whole
potentially,
offseason to get in shape.
Yeah, try to see if he's going to get in shape. Come back next year, do a full season with Luka, see what they can do. But I could potentially see, him going, all right, I realistically only have one more year after next year. I realistically only have one more year,
to play it out. And
yeah, let's play it out. Let's see what options I could have in the offseason if I could leave and potentially, almost guarantee myself a championship. I'm going to go.
Do you think it could be something where he plays now this is in the future, maybe not talking on next 2 years. Let's say his last year, he goes to Cleveland. They somehow make that work for his last year.
The only way they can make it work with the team constructed as it is now is if LeBron would have to sign a veteran minimum contract.
I think if he wanted to go and finish in Cleveland, if that actually mattered to him, I think he would do it too.
And I was actually talking to my uncle about that this weekend, where I was like, could you imagine a scenario? Because I was talking, I was reading a article about big man that the Lakers could trade for or work in the offseason. And one of them was trade for Jared Allen from the Cavs. And I said, well, could you imagine if they did trade for Jared Allen, and LeBron still he comes back and he goes, all right, Luka's not in shape. I don't like how the team looks, and just decides to leave anyway. I said, could you imagine if he did walk to Cleveland? And now we're talking Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter, LeBron James, Evan Mobley. And that's
that's why I brought that up.
That's a perfect team around LeBron.
LeBron.
I don't need LeBron. I don't need LeBron to be
manage.
I don't need LeBron to be the primary ball handler because I've got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell to do that. He doesn't have to be he doesn't have to be the primary scorer because that's what I have Donovan Mitchell for. I've got Evan Mobley as the defensive player of the year rim protector right behind him. DeAndre Hunter, who is a phenomenal on-ball defender and can shoot the three. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a perfect scenario.
That's the only place he would go back. I don't think he goes anywhere else. Just he's from Ohio.
I could see him going to Golden State to play with Steph.
I mean, that would be cool to watch.
That's always going to be there.
It's close to where he's living now.
And then you could also run with LeBron, Steph, and Jimmy.
That'd be fun to watch too.
So, I mean, that option's always there. I would also say the other option that would be there, but if Pop was still coaching, but obviously he's not now.
Yeah.
I could see him going to San Antonio and saying, I'll give Wemby a year, depending on what draft pick they get this year. If, they fuck around, end up with Cooper Flag, saying, I'll go with Wemby, Cooper, and De'Aaron Fox. And
yeah, I do genuinely think LeBron wants one more ship before he
for sure
calls it quits. So I do think that if the Lakers don't head into a good direction after this year, for sure. Or after next year.
I think that you're sitting at right now probably about a 98% chance he's going to return to LA next year.
Yeah, I meant after next year because he could still get traded if he
waives his no trade clause.
If he waives, I would assume he does that for when he signs this new contract.
Yeah. So all right. So in saying that, now could Giannis be on the move? Milwaukee. So if you think about Milwaukee's situation, Damian Lillard just tore his Achilles. He's done through next year. So there is no Dame next year. Milwaukee doesn't own its own draft pick until 2031.
2031?
Yeah, essentially. There's a bunch of swaps that could be there's now in saying that there's a bunch of swaps in between that Milwaukee gets in between. So it's not like they're without a complete first round draft pick, but in all those swaps, they end up with the worst pick of all those. So you have no Dame, no young pieces. Obviously, we showed with Dame or without Dame, this team still isn't that good. So if you're Giannis, do you ask for a trade? Do you demand out? Or do you ride this out?
Man, honestly, he's given a lot to that place. He's already given him a championship. If I'm Giannis, is he a free agent or is he going to need to be traded?
No, you need to be traded.
I think I ask out. If I'm him,
all right,
I think LA is a piece. I think if I'm Giannis, LeBron is almost out. If I'm the Lakers, Luka is for sure going to be the future, but I need another piece, and Giannis could be that piece if they can somehow make the salary work.
The Lakers are always going to be in those talks just because they're the Lakers. And for years even after, for a while there where after Anthony Davis, we were like, well, the Lakers haven't made moves. So are the Lakers still that destination? And then the Luka trade happened and you're like, oh yeah, they're still there, that destination. Also, but if Giannis gets traded, I doubt it's to LA because I don't think LA has the pieces to trade for Giannis.
The only other place I could see it being a pretty good fit would be to the Spurs with Wemby and Fox.
Spurs would be a good one. I think Houston would be a good one.
Yeah, have some experience on that young team.
The problem is the team that probably has the most what Milwaukee will want, and that's draft capital, is OKC.
They'd be almost unstoppable.
Brooklyn. I mean the other teams that really wouldn't be championship contenders. Brooklyn's got a lot of draft capital they can give up. Chicago has some young pieces and draft capital that they could give up. So, but with saying that, now let's get into some moves I'd like to see this offseason. Again, none of these are realistic. None of these are things that I think are going to actually happen or these players are actually going to move. But I would love to see these trades happen this offseason if they were to happen. So the first one, Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets.
I was going to ask about KD. After this, I was going to ask about where do you think KD is going to go?
Listen, if I'm Phoenix, you got to blow it up. It didn't work. You got Devin Booker, you got Kevin Durant, you got Bradley Beal. It didn't work at all. Not even to make you do a conference championship. So at this point, you've got to blow it up. Get any kind of draft picks you can get back in return, and it's time to restart. And the first one I go is send KD to a contender. I'm taking him, sending him to Houston. Give Houston the perimeter scorer that they need, the closer that they need to probably help push them over the top. Which leads into the second one, Devin Booker. I'd love to see go to Detroit. One, he goes back home to Michigan. Two, him and Cade as a backcourt duo, I think would be exciting, along with the other guys that they have. But it gives Cade that other scorer that they need.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Devin Booker to Detroit. Next one, Ja Morant to the New Orleans Pelicans. I'd like to see, if you're not going to trade Zion, then I'd like to see Ja and Zion team up together. They were AAU teammates together. I'd like to see them two pair up and see what kind of an freakishly athletic duo we could have down in New Orleans.
How are the gun laws there?
Well, next, the guy we were just talking about, Giannis. And I know it's probably an unlikely pairing, but Giannis to the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh. Interesting.
Pacers have a couple of young assets. They could get rid of Pascal Siakam, get Giannis. And you think about how that team likes to run. They can shoot. They play defense, obviously. But just how much they space the floor and they run, I think would just be a dream scenario for Giannis.
2 steps and dunk the ball.
Yeah. The next one, Trae Young to the Orlando Magic. I kind of alluded to it earlier. The Magic, I think, are an elite guard away from being really, really good. And if you add Trae Young along with Franz Wagner and Paolo, I think that team can be really, really scary in the East to match up against. And then the last one, I have Lauri Markkanen to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yep.
So I don't think the Spurs are going to end up with a Giannis this offseason. I don't think they're going to splash with anything. But adding an all-star player like Lauri Markkanen and put him next to Wemby, where I don't have to worry about Lauri playing defense because I have Wemby behind him. And I get the full-on spacing where I can clear the entire down low for Wemby to operate with Lauri out there, along with Fox, and then Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle. So I do think the Spurs are going to have to add somebody else. I don't think they get a big name like a Giannis, but adding somebody like Lauri can help push them to that next level next season. So those are my moves.
Yeah, I mean, I think KD is an interesting piece because I still think he has a decent amount left in the tank for his type of play, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I like all those, to be honest.
All right, well, how about a little breaking news real quick on the pod?
Uh-oh, breaking news.
The Ravens have released Justin Tucker.
My God. Well, okay, we knew something was up when they drafted a kicker.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they would do that. I think they'd let him play and see how he did. But they must have didn't want to pay him. Something must have been with the money situation because he was still.
It has to do with that.
Oh, the scandal
incident last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
so the Ravens are insisting that it's a football decision as to why they're releasing him, but I don't think they're taking a risk of something else pops up with that.
Wow. Yeah, I think they knew. I think that decision was coming the whole time.
Yeah, which is why they drafted a kicker.
Yeah, but that sucks. I mean, I guess teams will probably wait to see how that incident plays out. If they're releasing him like that, they
have to know something.
There's some validity to it because every team, I'm sure, does their own investigation into it with regard, not including the NFL headquarters. Right. So yeah, I mean that sucks for Justin Tucker. I mean he's one of the greatest kickers of all time, if not the greatest, if we're being honest. Yeah, I don't know. It sucks. Staying in the football world, I guess. A little more, not quite breaking news, but
speaking of scandals.
Yeah, speaking of scandals, also, Tyrone Moore is expected to have a 2-game ban next season for the Connor Stallions scandal. To me, it's probably the first 2 games of the season. I don't know who they play the first 2 games of the season. Normally, they're some cupcake teams, I guess I could have that first game scheduled. If they're cupcake teams, I don't think it's a really big deal. If we're being honest, only 2 games. But Klucas is pulling up.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to remember what the because it wasn't the first 2 games of the season.
Oh, it wasn't. That's why I said probably. I thought that would be how it works. It's just like the 2 games.
So he's suspended. I believe it says week 4 and 5.
Is that when conference play starts?
Yeah. So
they banned him for conference.
So the suspension will be for Michigan's week 3 and week 4 games. Sorry, so 3 and 4 against Central Michigan and Nebraska.
Huh.
So here's the thing. So let's go back to yesterday, because this is when this started yesterday, right, when University of Michigan's president Santaono left Michigan randomly and is now heading to Florida.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this started yesterday. So there was already fishy stuff going on with the university. If your president just ups and leaves, okay?
Oh yeah.
And so
as Louisville
somebody
fans,
had tweeted. Well. So somebody had tweeted. They said Michigan's president Santaono, who is under contract through 2032 and just received a 33% raise from the university, is leaving the school to go to Florida. Something's got to be up. And yeah, obviously there's, I think, much like we were just talking about with Justin Tucker, with them releasing him, they know something. He knows something. He knows the hammer's getting ready to come down on Michigan, and which is why he's getting out of there. And again, like you said, if Michigan's dumb. So, because let me tell you this, as you know very well, Doug, you don't self-impose yourself if you're not guilty.
Yes. That can come back to bite you.
Like, you basically are telling the NCAA, yeah, we did it. We know we did it. So we're going to give ourselves a punishment and see if that's okay. And maybe you won't give us as harsh of a punishment if we punish ourselves. It's not how this works in the NCAA, buddy. Basically, you make it worse on yourself by saying, we did it, we punished ourselves.
I mean, yeah. And now he's only getting a 2-game ban. He wasn't even the head coach. It was Harbaugh. But obviously he had some involvement from the investigation they did. So that's the tip of the iceberg for sure for Michigan. They're doing way more investigation.
Well, Moore's involvement comes from he deleted 52 text messages between him and Connor Stallions. That's where Moore's involvement comes in.
He deleted only text messages?
Yeah, it was a thread of 52 text messages between him and Connor Stallions. But, I mean...
wouldn't these guys to be a little smarter?
You would think.
Like, get a phone that's not tied to you, big dummies.
Well, again, not only that, you would just think major universities would know how to cover this stuff up a little more, and clearly they don't.
Well, you have to be... if you're not in person, you have to be able to communicate somehow. So you'd have to have a phone that's like a burner phone that you would have communication with. That's not tied to you. That's not tied to anything else but this.
Hell, go back to the old days. Just do the freaking note on the pigeon's foot.
Yeah. Snail mail. Send them letters.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, yeah. Send letters. I mean, like,
you can burn those.
Yeah, I can get rid of those fairly easy.
And there's no record of it. These guys are just not that smart. They don't think they're ever going to get caught.
They just get on there and they're like, hey, I'm about to email you this. Well, guess what, buddy? I can trace your email back. I'm going to text you this. I could trace your phone. Like,
your name is in your email.
Yeah, it's your phone number.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think, like you said.
Now, what kind of violations do I think is going to come of this? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to drop the hammer, take a national championship away. I know Louisville fans are probably going to be like, well, they took ours away. Why don't they take theirs away? Ironically enough, that also had Michigan involvement as well. But I don't know. I don't know what kind of, I'm not going to sit here and say they should take the championship away or anything like that. But I wouldn't be shocked if this comes with more than just Sherrone Moore's 2-game suspension. I could very well see a scenario where this plays out all year. He does his 2-game suspension. If Michigan is somehow in the playoff picture, gets in the playoff, whatever, I could see the NCAA coming out and just going, well, you're suspended for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's going to turn into a big fiasco as well.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if we're going to compare them to Louisville, basketball, football, also not a fair comparison, but for NCAA-wise, what Connor Stallions did with Michigan was way more...
It's way worse because it affects more in-game than it does what Louisville did.
Yes. So if
Right.
comparing the two, they should definitely take the national championship away. But
I'm never going to be upset about taking anything away from Michigan.
yeah, no, that's fun. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's we're definitely going to be talking about that more in the coming months for sure. Anything else?
No, I'm good. I was reading up more on this just to make sure I didn't miss any. So nope. Okay, nope. Thought I missed something. Nope, we're good.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to the episode. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, hit that little notification bell for YouTube, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.